The metal door shut with a loud, heavy sound. Inside a small concrete room, a man sat alone. No noise. No voices. No freedom. This man was once one of the most powerful criminals in the world. Now, he sat in silence. 23 hours a day. Every day. This place is called ADX Florence, the most secure prison in the United States. And the man inside that cell is Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán. He once controlled billions of dollars. He once had power across countries. But now, he cannot even see the world outside. In letters sent to his lawyer, he says his life here is worse than death. He says he never truly sees sunlight. He says he cannot sleep properly. He says he feels watched all the time. But how did a man this powerful end up here? To understand that, we must go back. Back to Mexico. Back to a time when El Chapo was not a prisoner, but a king. Years ago, El Chapo was one of the richest criminals in the world. He helped build the Sinaloa Cartel, one of the most powerful drug organizations in history. Working alongside his partner, Ismael El Mayo Zambada, they created a system that moved illegal drugs across borders. Their network reached far beyond Mexico. It extended into cities in the United States and beyond. Money flowed in. Billions of dollars. This was a high moment. Power. Control. Influence. El Chapo lived a life many could only imagine. Large houses. Private planes. Security teams. But even with all that power, there was always one problem. The law. Authorities in Mexico and the United States were searching for him. Constantly. Relentlessly. Still, for a long time, he stayed ahead. Until one day, he was captured. This should have been the end. But for El Chapo, it was only the beginning. In 2001, he was held inside a maximum security prison in Mexico. A place designed to keep dangerous criminals locked away. But El Chapo had something most prisoners did not. Money. And influence. This was another turning point. Using his power, he built connections inside the prison. Guards. Workers. Others willing to help. And then, one day, he disappeared. Not through violence. Not through force. But through something simple. A laundry cart. Hidden inside, he was moved out of the prison. Quietly. Carefully. And just like that, he was gone. This was a major high moment. A shocking escape. The world took notice. Mexico was embarrassed. Authorities were under pressure. But El Chapo was free again. 4 years, he remained hidden. Moving between locations. Staying one step ahead. But eventually, he was found again. Captured once more. This time, security was tighter. Stronger. More controlled. He was placed in another high-security prison. A place where escape should have been impossible. But El Chapo had done the impossible before. And he would do it again. In 2015, cameras showed him walking inside his cell. Back and forth. Back and forth. Then suddenly, he moved toward the shower area. And disappeared. Guards waited. Minutes passed. Then they checked. Inside the shower, there was a hole. A tunnel. Not a small one. A long, carefully built passage. With lighting. With ventilation. This was no simple escape. This was a plan. A very detailed plan. The tunnel led far beyond the prison walls. And through it, El Chapo escaped again. This was another high moment. A second escape. Even more shocking than the first. The world could not believe it. How could this happen twice? How could one man escape 2 maximum security prisons? But even this would not last forever. Because by now, El Chapo was no longer just a criminal. He was an international target. Authorities increased their efforts. More planning. More intelligence. More pressure. Then, in 2016, everything changed. His location was discovered. A safe house. Watched. Tracked. And when the moment was right, forces moved in. El Chapo tried to escape again. Using hidden paths. Moving quickly. Trying to disappear. But this time, there was no way out. He was captured. Again. But this time, it would be different. Because this time, he would not stay in Mexico. He was taken to the United States. And from that moment, everything changed. The man who once escaped twice was now heading to a place designed for one purpose: to make sure no one ever escapes again. ADX Florence. And as the plane landed, and the doors opened, for the first time, El Chapo understood. There would be no more escapes. The plane doors opened slowly. Bright light filled the entrance. For a brief moment, everything felt still. Then, armed officers stepped forward. Careful. Controlled. Watching every move. At the center of it all was Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán. The man who had escaped twice. The man who had controlled billions. Now walking down the steps, in chains. This was not Mexico anymore. This was the United States. And this time, there would be no mistakes. No weak security. No second chances. This was a high moment. A final turning point. Because from here, everything would change forever. El Chapo was taken into custody immediately. He was moved under heavy guard. No delays. No risks. Every step was planned. Every move was controlled. Because everyone knew. This was not an ordinary prisoner. He had escaped before. He had influence. He had power. But here, those things meant nothing. He was placed into the system. A system built to hold the most dangerous individuals. A system designed to remove control. To remove power. To remove hope of escape. This was a low moment. Quiet. Controlled. But heavy. Days passed. Then weeks. Then months. The trial began. Inside a courtroom in the United States, the story of El Chapo's life was told. Witnesses spoke. Evidence was shown. Stories of his past were revealed. The rise of the Sinaloa Cartel. The operations. The power. The escapes. Everything. It was no longer hidden. It was now public. And the world was watching. This was another high moment. Because for the first time, El Chapo was not in control of the story. Others were telling it. And piece by piece, the full picture became clear. At the end of the trial, the decision was made. Life in prison. Plus extra years. No possibility of release. No chance to return. This was final. But where would he go? Not a normal prison. Not a place where mistakes could happen. He was sent to a place known across the world. A place built for one purpose. ADX Florence. Located in Colorado. Often called the most secure prison in America. This was where the most dangerous prisoners were kept. People who could not be held anywhere else. This was where El Chapo would spend the rest of his life. As he arrived, the environment changed completely. No noise. No crowds. Just silence. Cold. Controlled. He was taken to his cell. Small. Simple. Made of concrete. A bed. A desk. A stool. Nothing more. The door closed. And just like that, his world became smaller than ever before. This was a low moment. The quiet after everything. The silence after power. Inside ADX Florence, life follows strict rules. Every day is the same. Every movement is controlled. El Chapo spends most of his time alone. In his cell. For 23 hours a day. There is no contact with other inmates. No conversations. No normal human interaction. Even the cells are designed to prevent communication. Thick walls. Sound control. Isolation. This is not just prison. It is separation. Complete separation. For 1 hour each day, he is allowed out. Not into a yard. But into another small space. A concrete area. Where he can walk in circles. Alone. Even then, he is restrained. Hands secured. Feet secured. There is no chance of escape. Not even close. This is another high moment. Not in action, but in understanding. Because this place is different. It is designed to remove every possibility. Technology watches everything. Cameras monitor every angle. Movement sensors track every step. Doors are controlled remotely. If something goes wrong, the entire prison can lock down instantly. No delay. No risk. Outside, the prison is surrounded by strong barriers. Fences. Wires. Guards in towers. Everything working together. This is a system built to never fail. Inside his cell, El Chapo has very little. Food is simple. Basic. Enough to survive. Not to enjoy. There are no special privileges. No luxury. No control. Money has no value here. This is another low moment. Because the man who once had everything now has almost nothing. Even sleep is not peaceful. According to reports, guards check regularly. Lights. Noise. Movement. The goal is constant awareness. Constant control. Days turn into months. Months into years. Time moves slowly here. Very slowly. And for someone used to power, this kind of life is difficult. Very difficult. But perhaps the hardest part is the silence. No voices. No conversations. No connection. Just thoughts. Alone. 4 hours. 4 days. 4 years. Outside the prison, the world continues. People move on. Stories change. But inside ADX Florence, everything stays the same. And as time passes, another question begins to grow. Is this the end of the story? Or is there still something left, waiting to happen? Because even though El Chapo is locked away, the world he helped build did not disappear. And somewhere out there, others are still watching, still waiting, still connected to a past that is not fully gone.